A Super Bowl champion.
The Green Bay Packers have won the Super Bowl.
The Packers' all-time leading scorer.
A game winner for Mason Crosby.
It's time for the Mason Crosby Show with Mitch Nellis, presented by Verizon, the #1 network in Milwaukee, on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, and on the free Odyssey app.
Welcome in. See Sparky Fifer with you. Other side of the glass. As always, a big old hunk of love. He is Tommy Wirtz doing his thing. No Mason Crosby today. Normally, what does he call it? A human Wednesday. Apparently, it's a human Thursday today. He will be back tomorrow, however, back in his chair. Mitch Thundernellis, he's off as well. He's on some extended vacation. He's not back till next Wednesday. So I'll be filling in here for the next 4 shows. And Mason, like I said, will be back tomorrow. And then Monday and Tuesday, he'll be back. Looking forward to talking to Mason after his day off today. Lots to get to on today's show as we broadcast live from the 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, obviously Brewers. So that's what we're going to start off talking about. Plus, we're also going to talk with Chris Mehring, play-by-play voice of the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers. That comes up at 9:40. And then at 10 o'clock, Drew Wagner of Forbes Sports follows the Milwaukee Brewers. We'll go inside the clubhouse, brought to you by our fine folks over there at Focus Baseball. That comes up at 10 o'clock. And did you all see the story? And this story has been going on now for, I don't know, a while. I feel like it's been going on for a couple of years. About this family suing the WIAA for essentially not playing their kid. So we'll get into all of that coming up at 10:20 as well. First, we start off talking about last night's baseball game that netted a loss for the Milwaukee Brewers. Now, the Brewers, they did their best to try and stay in this thing late.
Pulls it. Oh, and it gets by Shaw. Fair ball down into the corner. Terang is in. And Danny Jansen makes this a 1-run game. Big hit for Jansen.
You know, it's funny because on the radio last week, over the weekend, they were talking about where's Danny Jansen's big Brewers moment going to come from? When is it going to come? When is that big moment going to come? And then last night, Brian Anderson, when Danny Jansen is up to bat, is saying the same thing. Like, okay, here's your chance. Have your moment. And he rips one down the third baseline. Again, Shaw probably should have had that ball, went under his glove. But either way, a moment nonetheless. And now all of a sudden the Brewers are at 4-3. Sal Frelick, while he has had a great year, and he really has, is driving me nuts lately in this series. Like the amount of strikes and strike threes and everything else that he's been looking at in this series is very frustrating. And when he came up to bat, I'm texting Tom, I'm like, if he goes down looking, I'm going to lose my mind. And sure enough, it went from, what was it, 3-0 to 3-2? I'm going, oh my God, here we go again. Yeah. I've seen this whole damn series. You better swing the damn bat. And thankfully, he was able to draw the walk and get on base because they almost hit him. But for the love of God, the lack of aggressiveness, I feel like, in this series from the Brewers is more than it is at any other point. Now, whether that's, well, the Cubs bullpen isn't good, so we're going to try and up the pitch counts and get into their bullpen, or what the strategy is, but they have not really went after anybody early in counts trying to ambush them. You get Imanaga today against Priester. Go after Imanaga early in counts, trying to ambush them, because you've been sitting on everything this whole series long, outside of, I guess, Joey Ortiz, earlier in that game where he walks guy after guy and Ortiz goes swinging at the first pitch and pops it up. So maybe outside of Ortiz, most of these guys taking a million pitches before they even take the bat off of their shoulder, Tom.
Yeah, and that was there was a more frustrating at bat earlier in the game that it was a 3-0 count, and then Sal Frelick did watch strike three in that game,
but that's
too.
Not the only time it's happened in this series. That's the second or third time he's done it.
I will say this. I don't want to sound like the Andy Herman equivalent of the Milwaukee Brewers, as Andy is to the Green Bay Packers.
What does that mean? Sunshine?
Yeah, just
you can
looking
be a
at
happy person. It's okay.
I will say that I am really not worried about Milwaukee. The last 3 games, I will say what is more concerning to me is the starting pitching, I feel, is being exposed that all of them have the capability of having the one blow up inning right now. Whether it is Freddie Peralta, which we've seen in years past, Jacob Misiorowski gave up one hit in his performance, but obviously gave up a bunch of damage before that and couldn't find the zone. Looking what, Chad Patrick isn't going to be a part of this plan down the road, but he ended up having that inning as well. And Woodruff saw it too. Woodruff was getting exposed once he wasn't getting some calls to go his way.
Do you know what they call this?
Karma?
No, Peralta-itis. Peralta-itis. This has been a Peralta-itis thing forever. Peralta-itis is spread throughout that Brewers starting pitching staff.
It very well could have.
Yes, that's a typical Freddie Peralta thing that he's been battling his whole career.
Yeah, and if I have one other gripe too, it's, again, when did we decide, or when I say we, I meant the Brewers, like Uribe is now the 7th inning guy and Koenig is the 8th inning guy.
It changes based on where they are in the line.
Yeah, and you told me that yesterday, and Jared Koenig gave up a homer to a righty to start the inning, then gave up a hit to a lefty, then had to face Ian Happ. So, he got lucky with the double play from Ian Happ, but it made no sense on matchup purposes because there's one lefty there. We're going to say that Jared Koenig should have the 8th inning. Not like that run ended up mattering, did it, Sparky? Oh, yeah, it did. Yes, I don't understand what Abner Uribe did to lose the 8th inning. He's been phenomenal all season long. And another guy that has the potential, though, to become a little erratic. But I would have much more faith in Abner Uribe than I would in Jared Koenig in those moments.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. I really think it is lineup based on what they're doing. But we'll talk to Andrew Widener, Forbes Sports, coming up at 10 o'clock. We'll ask him if maybe Murphy has said something because I haven't seen him say anything one way or the other. And Tommy is as dialed in as anybody doing the leadoff show, part of the Potawatomi Sportsbook. He hears the Murphy pre-games. He hears the Murphy post-games. And obviously Tommy hasn't heard it. So we'll see what Andrew Widener says about that. But I'm pretty sure it's probably lineup based. Let's talk about Misiorowski a little bit here. If you want to hop aboard and talk, you can. The question is, and we haven't gotten to it yet, but how important do you think today's game is for the Milwaukee Brewers? That game difference to end this series when it's all said and done. Either you're going to be up 5 or you're going to be up 7 based on what happens today. And I do not care that they lost the season series to the Cubs. I saw people fighting on Twitter last night about what it actually means. McKelvey posted something and said, well, technically 5. And who is it? I'm not Bob Kozlowski or whoever he put on there, wherever that guy's Twitter account is. I said, no, that's not right, Adam. And then went in detail. And I was like, oh, yeah, you're right. Good point. So we're not going to get into all the semantics of that. But right now, 5 or 7, how big of a game is today for the Milwaukee Brewers? That's what I want to know. Nicolay Love Fan Talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Don't forget streaming live on YouTube. Just search the Fan Milwaukee on YouTube, video, shorts, all that fun stuff, streaming on the Odyssey app as well, AUDACY. And on social media, you can interact with us at the Fan Milwaukee. So you can use that number, all that stuff to talk about last night's game or whatever you want to do. Tommy's clicking of his mouse is going to drive me nuts over here on this side of the glass.
Sorry. My bad for working. My bad. My bad.
What? I used to get yelled at all the time because, as you know, people that don't know this, but because you can't really see on the YouTube screen. So I would type on my computer, on my keyboard here, if I'm looking something up on the internet when I was hosting the Big Show back in the day. People would get so mad. Sparky, quit. Turn your microphone off if you're going to type. Just quit. That is why you see I'm always using my cell phone. If I'm looking at box scores or anything, I never use my keyboard anymore during a segment. I always use my phone so I don't get yelled at. So this bringing it up.
I will attempt to click quieter.
Quieter, right.
Quieter.
So this is the thing. As far as Misiorowski goes, I had a guy, listen to me here. I got to read you a text from a friend of mine last night. He says to me, let's see here, pitching himself out of the playoff rotation. If he doesn't get sent down, one more start to get his control back, and then I'd send him down. Can't afford to let him struggle with command. And I said, for who? He goes, Miss. No. I'm like, who replaces him if you send him down? He's like, I get that, but what good is pitching 3 innings a start because of control issues since coming back? It doesn't help him or the team, especially since he's on an innings count already. Okay, so that was from one of my buddies that texted me last night. Now, this is my thing, And I told Tommy this, and I told this dude this. If you go back and watch that game last night, he got himself in trouble because he kept trying to throw that curveball late in counts. You go back and look at those walks. It's on a curveball. It's on a curveball. And then once in a while, it might be not spotting a fastball. But for the most part, that curveball was the issue throughout that entire inning where he couldn't locate it. But he refused to stop throwing it. So he kept throwing it for ball after ball after ball after ball. At some point, in my opinion, not a professional catcher, not a professional pitching coach. In my opinion, at some point, either Chris Hook or Contreras has got to say, yo, we're done. We're done with that pitch for right now. We got to get out of this inning. You want to try and throw it next inning? Cool, but we're done because you can't locate it. We're going to throw the changeup, maybe the slider. We're going to throw your fastball a little bit more, move the fastball around the zone, but we're done throwing the curveball going forward. And they did it. They kept letting him throw it late in counts. That is why he got himself in trouble, folks. I'm telling you, if they would have just cut that damn pitch out at some point after he walked a guy and said, or even the second guy, he just said, that's it. We're done. We're not throwing it. You can't spot it. It's off. We're going to move on. I think if you do that, you get him out of that inning quicker. Maybe you give up that hit. So while I agree that Mizorowski's control is an issue, I agree that Mizorowski's control in the minors has always been an issue since he was coming up. And that was the big question was he going to be able to have his control at the big league level? Well, he did have his control throughout all the way up until he got hit. And then since he came back, because they didn't rehab him on a rehab outing or anything, right? They just brought him right back. So that's part of it. And then Murphy last night, he's all like, it's not going to work. That's just not going to cut it. Whether it's focus or whatever, that's not going to cut it. I saw him say that. I saw his facial expression, and I thought of the text messages that I just read you. I'm thinking, holy crap. Do you really think he might just be like, no, I'm going to go with the veteran. I'm not playing this kid. I can't trust him. He doesn't have his control. We're going to roll. Like, he's going to go from being that absolute stud that we have Ms. T-shirt night over and everything else, and then the manager is going to panic and bail on him come September. I don't know if that's a possibility or not, but Murphy was not having it. And the last time I saw Murphy like that was with who? Tobias Myers at the beginning of the year. And who has been in that man's doghouse ever since? Tobias Myers. I really hope that does not happen to Mizorowski, Tom.
I think that's a little bit of an exaggeration.
What do you mean?
I think
you don't
that
think Tobias has been in his doghouse?
Tobias is in his doghouse for sure.
Okay.
I'm saying Jacob Mizorowski, maybe they're building the doghouse on him. I don't know if he's necessarily in the doghouse.
Well, then take away the wood, the nails, and the hammer from Murphy.
I'm telling you.
A doghouse.
Well, no, because this is actually all going to your plan perfectly and specifically. This is what is going to happen. Jacob Mizorowski is going to come out of the bullpen in the playoffs.
Probably right.
He is not going to start a playoff game, and I don't think that's a problem by any means either.
So who are your three?
I would start Woodruff game one, personally.
Fine.
I don't think that's what's going to happen, but I think it'll be Freddie, Woodruff, and Priester. And I think that Quintana maybe has a chance to get one of those starts just because of a matchup situation. If there's a lot of lefties in a lineup, I think he'll make the playoff roster, but that's the three for right now.
You know, the Priester thing. He's on the mound today against Imanaga. I give advantage to the Cubs in that pitching matchup. I'm not on the Priester bandwagon.
Because you're not?
I'm not there like everybody else is, not necessarily.
Oh, yeah.
But,
no, you're off.
Having said that, we talk about the Mizorowski, you know, the immaturity, the young age, all of that stuff. I mean, are we sure Priester's going to be able to handle the moment when we put him out there with the bright lights and all that? Because he's a pretty
Tobias Myers did it last year.
He's a pretty young cat, too.
Yeah, Tobias Myers did it last year. Game 3, every winner go home. Like, that literally was Tobias Myers.
Yeah, you're right.
And
he's
Quinn
better than Tobias Myers.
He is better than Tobias Myers. Even last year, I think Priester has been such an unsung hero for this Brewers team this season. I think Jacob Mizorowski, could you imagine if it's game 1 and you have Brandon Woodruff go out there and then the first man out of the bullpen is Jacob Mizorowski? That's what I see happening for Milwaukee. It goes Woodruff, who's throwing 92 on the paint the entire game. He has a sinker that's the exact same speed. The changeup goes all the way down to like 83 now. And then right after Woodruff goes 6 innings, you got to face Jacob Mizorowski for 2-3 innings now because he's throwing 102. He can figure it out from there. The slider's coming in at 97. I think it's a perfect balance if Woodruff and Miz are game one of your playoff rotation or playoff plan at pitching positions.
Okay, so let me add on to what you just said. If the plan is being talked about or already established in the Brewers front office or with the skipper of this team, that Mizorowski's not starting, then my suggestion would be once we get to September or so, bring him out of the bullpen starting then. Right. Let him get used to getting warmed up in the bullpen.
Who are you going to bring in to start?
Coming in at different moments. Why? Well, we've been talking. Tobias Myers, put him back in the rotation. Put him right back in the rotation.
Maybe to get Bob Gasser some reps in September. You could maybe have him come back up.
I haven't heard a peep about Gasser's rehab lately.
He just went out yesterday or the day before, went 4 innings, 50 pitches. It was good outing. He's made like 7 starts, I think, already rehab.
So
now.
He's still only at 50. So he's got to get to like 75 or 80 before you feel comfortable. Now that's another guy. Do you bring him out of the bullpen?
I think that the plan is who did they just bring? Like Carlos Rodriguez is not going to be on the team.
Awful.
It'll be Robert Gasser by the playoff time for sure. And because it's not going to be DL Hall, it sounds like he's got late September written all over him too. Maybe he comes back for a playoff roster, but Gasser's a lefty, Hall's a lefty. Like you can use either one of them at that moment. And you've seen how big Aaron Ashby's been in these games too. I think it's a perfect balance of if it's a Woodruff Miz combo for game 1, and then you have an Uribe or McGill, whatever, at the back end of the game. Game 2 is a Freddie Ashby, and then you have again Uribe or McGill, like whoever you didn't use in that situation. That's a great 1-2 punch for game 1, game 2, in my opinion.
Tommy Wirtz over there producing. See Sparky Fifer over here filling in for Mason Crosby, Mitch Thunder Nellis. They're both off today. Mason will return tomorrow. Yesterday on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, we had a bunch of people in the chat on YouTube, and they were trying to have a conversation of we should name ourselves a group of all the people that chat in YouTube. We should come up with a name. And this name suggestion was The Dugout, right? That we should be called The Dugout. So with that, Tommy, I'll let you go to The Dugout and read the latest YouTube chat message there.
Yeah, we got Mark saying that The Miz needs to go back to the minors. I lost my mind when he was laughing when he walked 3 guys with nobody out. And Mark, I completely understand the frustration with that. What is he supposed to do? Do you want him to even crumble even harder and cry? Like, do you want him to be stone-faced the whole time? He's got to. That's how his personality is, right? And you know that too, Sparky, that he's just a guy that you say always lives in the moment, trying to just enjoy that he's up in the big leagues at this time. Is it an immaturity? Maybe it is. I understand where you come from with that.
Is there such a thing as a nervous laugh?
Yeah, maybe in the big leagues, like what? Why else? I'm sure we've seen it out of a manager or player before. Yeah, that wouldn't be. It was a ruckus environment. I mean, and he's only pitching in big games. It feels like Jacob Mizorowski.
So that's the other thing to consider, Mark. To your question, I get it. I understand, right? So as a fan, you want to see that dude as mad as you are on your couch watching the game that he can't get anybody out, right? That he walks 3 dudes. You're like, come on, man. I'm ready to break my TV. And you're out there giggling and laughing like it's a joke or something. I get what you want to see. I understand. But having said that, do you think, and I don't know the answer to this, but do you think that The Miz would pitch better if he was angry at the world like you are on your couch? Or do you think he pitches better if he's more relaxed and not as angry in that same moment? Now, I don't know what the answer is for Jacob Mizorowski, okay? I have no idea. I can tell you from watching sports my whole life, some dudes, when they get angry and you tick them off, get even more focused in and get really good. Giannis comes to mind, right? You poke Giannis, you poke the bear in a game and get him mad, he becomes a man possessed and it's on. I've seen other athletes in sports, when they get mad, they overthink and they crumble even more and they don't know how to get themselves out of the spiral of emotions that they got themselves into. I don't know Mizorowski's history coming up in youth sports and whatever else. I don't know what works best for him. So for me, it's hard to go after him, not knowing if he goes the other way, does it get even worse? He start drilling guys in the head or something when he gets super mad if he goes to that other side of things. We don't know. I have no idea.
Well, and I would lean that Pat Murphy would rather him be in that state or in that mindset, because Pat Murphy's done a great job adapting to all the players, the young players specifically on the team. And it's more of a common theme, it feels like, to coddle isn't the right word, but like tough love doesn't really exist much more after Pat Murphy, right? I mean, a lot of managers are very player focused and letting them do their own thing, and
not
trying
calling
to be
players out like Pat does.
Right. So maybe it is more Jacob Mizorowski's speed to try to relax and try to laugh things off, because when he gets in that state of frustration, maybe he shuts down. I also think, Sparky, that what we need to really talk about with Mizorowski too, he's probably a better pitcher if he throws 98. Like when he's throwing 102, I also think he doesn't really maybe know where it's going. When he was dialing it back just a little bit, it actually was, if he could look, Tim Dillard even commented on it, is like, hey, if you can throw that pitch at 98 in the bottom corner of the zone away from hitters, like, you're going to be fine all day. That is exactly where you want to hit your spot. It's still of high enough velocity where it throws people off. Everyone's sitting fastball when Mizorowski's on the bump.
98 doesn't separate yourself, though. 98 doesn't separate
as a
yourself.
starter, absolutely.
No.
If you can consistently throw it, it's 102.
My point is, you as a hitter, you see 98 all the time.
Yeah, and I think people doubt how great his slider is, and when his curveball is on, it's not a bad pitch either.
I like his curveball when it's on, no question. I talked about the curveball when they called him up. That, man, nobody's talking about this curveball of his, but it's damn good. You go back and look at some minor league highlights with him throwing that curveball.
Brandon Woodruff has been a very effective pitcher all year this year, throwing 92 miles an hour tops.
But that is not the same kid.
It's
not the same
all
person.
control. It's all control.
Right, but one is an established vet that has been doing this forever at the major league level and knows how to get major league hitters out.
So Jacob Mizorowski should hit his spots at 98 as opposed to rear it back and hope for the best at 102.
But my point is that at this point, he does not know how to pitch the same way Brandon Woodruff knows how to pitch. To this point, he's relied on his power getting guys out. He doesn't have the control to be able to pitch the way Woodruff does, because that's been his bugaboo in the minors the whole time. Now you're saying, well, if you dial it back and don't throw as hard, maybe his control gets better. Maybe, but I'm telling you right now, Mizorowski is going to be like, no, dog. Like, I got to this point because I throw six figures. People talk about me because I throw 102. Did you see all the highlights of me on TV throwing all these strikes at 100, 101, 102? That's why I'm in the show. Now you want me to pull it back and become like Trevor McGill and the rest of these guys? I just, maybe Mizorowski would buy it. Yeah, maybe Mizorowski would buy in and be like, yeah, okay, if that's what you want, whatever. But that's something I think you do in the offseason. I don't think you're going to change who he is now during the season. If you want to have the conversation, sit down and go, we're going to change how you pitch, right? We're going to teach you to pitch a different way as far as how you're going to attack, how hard you're going to throw, and that stuff. Because to me, that's kind of like rebuilding a dude to a certain degree. Now, we got Tim Dillard on today at 3:20. I'll ask Tim Dillard today at 3:20 when we have him on about this idea of taking something off. How hard is it for a guy, especially at that age, to do that consistently moving forward? And then the whole idea of, like you brought up with Woodruff, of Woodruff's not throwing as hard, but he's effective, versus asking Mizorowski to do kind of the same thing.
Yeah, and are you going to also give him a hard time on how he totally fumbled the bag on the Cudahy pronunciation yesterday for the Tavern of the Game?
Well, it is kind of spelled goofy.
I know, but I mean, come on, Tim. Come on. I expect more out of Tim. I
think we should just get him a sponsor from Cudahy, and then he would have to say Cudahy like every day.
The bar that won yesterday sold and isn't even named that anymore.
What?
Yeah, the Tavern of the Game for the game yesterday.
Yeah,
that is not, the Light Palace does not exist anymore.
It was there forever.
Yeah, it is now like the Dirty Dime Tavern or something. One of the bartenders who worked there owned it.
Sounds like a complete Cudahy bar name to me if I've ever heard of a bar
does
name.
Not help the case at all.
The only bar name I could come up with in Cudahy would be, is Spirits still there?
No, I don't think so. That was on Packard.
Yeah,
too,
yeah, right?
Yeah, I don't think it. Maybe it's on that corner right by Laddish. I know exactly where you're talking about. It had like right by the PBR and the volleyball courts over there. I don't know if it's still there. I know the location you're talking about. I I tend to avoid Packard Avenue when I'm going out over there, but the Light Palace is right next to where my brother lives as well, so I knew where it was.
No, Spirits, what I'm thinking about is in South Milwaukee.
Oh.
That's the one I'm thinking about.
Well, then no wonder I don't know anything about it. Don't ask me.
That's the wrong
I know
one.
where that is now.
That's
up Layton or Packard where it turns into South Milwaukee. I know exactly where that is.
So that is we've done a remote or two there back in.
But you gotta if it's the last thing I do, you have to tell Tim, like, on behalf of my Cudahy guy, Cuddy. Come on, Tim.
Did you ever used to drink? I had a favorite drink back in the day, Cuddy Black. Used to be a
like
drink.
McGillicuddy's?
I don't think they make it anymore. No, not like McGillicuddy's. No. Now, see, we're completely off topic here. And I'm never gonna get it back. I don't think here. Hold on.
That was Tim Dillard's fault. Like, he's the one who said Miz should dial it back and throw 98, and then he mispronounced Cudahy. Otherwise, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Yeah, here it is. It is Cuddy Black 100 proof whiskey.
What, dude?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
dude, when they had promotions, they'd be up at Club Paragon on Highway 100.
Yeah.
And they'd bring cages in with girls in the cages for their Cuddy Black promotions.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Really wants
back in the day.
I'm not taking whiskey, dude. You know, Mason Crosby got me
up back in the day.
Mason Crosby got me a bottle of whiskey for Christmas this past year. And that thing, like, rips you every time. It's same way. Like, I would never drink more than one shot of it. It's kind of like the housewarming gag I have now, too, of whenever you come over to my house for the first time,
you do a shot?
You take the shot of the Leaper's Fork, and they're all like, oh, my God, right after every time.
This is how we were. Sparky, Fifer. Come back. Talk about how important today's game is for the Brewers. And maybe Pat Murphy needs to do some shots after the game. I'll tell you about his little meltdown last night after the game. Straight ahead, it's the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers. Live on the 1250 AM 1057 FM, the Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky with you.
Here's the 0-2. And it's a shot. It is caught. A snow cone to end the game. Buzzard's luck for William Contreras.
That was a great play by Nico Horner. Give him credit. I'm sick of Nico Horner. Even Vinny Rottino after the game said, dude, I'm so done with this dude. He kills the Brewers. Absolutely done with Nico Horner. And he made a great play. It was a line drive from Contreras there. If that gets through, that scores 2, and the Brewers have the lead. Like, they have the lead going to the bottom of the 9th. And maybe the outcome is different. That doesn't happen. The Brewers end up losing. They have now lost 3 straight in Chicago against the Cubs. Got an afternoon game today, 1:20. We'll have the leadoff show powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook coming up today at noon. And you're definitely going to want to be listening for that. With Tommy Wirtz getting ready for the show. Andrew Wagner will be down there. Plus, Andrew Wagner will join us coming up here at 10 o'clock as well. And we'll ask him the question that we were talking about there in the last segment, as far as this whole idea of switching Uribe and our guy Koenig from 7th and 8th inning, and what the difference there is between making that switch. Is it just lineup or is it a permanent switch? That's how it's going to be the rest of the year. All right. Earlier, that highlight, by the way, FanDuel Sports Network, Wisconsin. Earlier, we mentioned the idea that Pat Murphy may need a shot of something after games now, that maybe the edge is getting to him a little bit. Last night was really the first time that I remember where he kind of got a little mad at, I think it was Todd Rosiak that asked the question.
Yes.
And even swore. Check this out.
Murph, was the feeling from the guys in there a good one, a positive one after you talked?
No.
Did you get a good sense from them?
Why wouldn't you?
Well, I'm
You
just
think
asking.
negative?
I'm just asking.
No. That's kind of a dumb question, but yeah, it was great sense. The guys are in great spirits. They're in line to break a franchise record for wins. Why wouldn't they be in a great frame of mind? You think that this is going to? If they're not professional players, and you think that would make them think they're not a good team?
No, I don't think that at all.
I mean, Todd, like, these reporters, man, Spark, I've told you about them all season long. They just don't learn, and they are like, Pat Murphy does not care about your story. He does not care. He's going
no manager cares about
for
your
sure,
story.
for sure. But Pat Murphy is the exact guy who will never give you the answer you are looking for. And Pat Murphy has also stated how little he cares about anything other than the day at hand. To ask like a future question to him is so pointless at this time.
The idea of them being in good spirits, right? Oh, the guys in the locker or clubhouse, are they in good spirits or where are they?
Their whole
right
mantra
now?
is power of friendship.
But Tommy, this goes back to talking about seeing Miz laughing on the mound after he walks 3 guys and fans being upset about seeing that. Now here we are, and the question is, hey, are they in good spirits? And Pat Murphy swears, and it was like, well, yeah, they were on their way to winning the most wins in franchise history. Well, number one, that's interesting because most managers will never even talk about such a thing. Most managers we go day by day. Nobody's talking about in August. Yeah, we're in line to win the most wins in franchise history. That's very unmanager-like. That is not normal standard manager stuff, right? Most guys would not even talk about that.
Sure.
I don't care about what the number is at the end of the year. I'm trying to win tomorrow. I don't care about that. He voluntarily brings it up about how good they are and that they're going to go try and do this, and they're good. Don't worry about it. But as a fan, you're like, man, you just lost 3 games and we're in good spirits. Everybody's fine. No big deal. As a fan, that answer, that I think irritates fans listening to that. Because, again, you're watching at home. You lose 3 games to your rival who now take the season series against you and essentially have the tiebreaker against you. You're mad. And, again, the manager's like, oh, we're good. Don't worry about it. We're gonna have a great season. We're fine. I think from a fan standpoint, I think it probably irritated some people watching that.
No, I'm not irritated at all. In fact, it only gets me more on the side of the manager, Pat Murphy, this entire time. I think he is absolutely the guy you want leading this team right now. If you don't think that, if you get frustrated over what Pat Murphy says in a press conference, look back at the last 2 months. Look back at the last 22 games. Look back at the last month that's gone down for the Brewers. Obviously, what he's doing is correct. Does he do everything perfect? No. but Pat Murphy is the leader of that clubhouse. It's not Christian Yelich. It's not
Agreed.
Matt Arnold.
Yes.
It is Pat Murphy and a trickle-down effect of this is our attitude, and our attitude is today. We can be frustrated about today if things don't go our way. We can be happy about today if things do go our way, but we will not reflect on the past. We will not look forward, which he does in this comment, saying that they're on track to win the most games. I give you that. But it's just a frustrating conversation that Pat Murphy has to have because he gets pushed to that point for sure. And they lose 3 games and everyone thinks the sky is falling. It was a very unlucky 3 games for Milwaukee in a previous 25, in which maybe it was the luckiest stretch of Brewers baseball. So I think everyone needs to pump the brakes on 3 losses in a row, which they haven't done since May, by the way, on the best record in baseball.
So we got to get to Chris Merring, play-by-play voice of the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers, because that is a prospect-loaded team. Jesus Made been tearing it up since he got called up. That top 5, I tweeted out their lineup the other day and was like, my goodness, the top 5 in this lineup is sick, really good. And Kylie McDaniel had his top 100 out for ESPN. Made is ranked number 3 in all of baseball right now. And he's in Appleton playing. I'm telling you, go buy your tickets. But we'll talk to Chris Merring about that in a couple minutes. I want you to answer the question, as will I. How important is today's game for the Brewers? Between a 7-game lead and a 5-game lead, and losing 4 in a row, and leaving Wrigley if you lose today.
After all of what I just said, I'll hypocritically say it's must win.
Stop! You can't do that. Back to crazy takes time. There's no must-win situation at this time of year now for this team.
I think right now you really need to win this one. I asked Drew the question yesterday if yesterday and today's game, one of them was a must-win. I thought if they would have won yesterday, it's not a must-win today. 4 in a row to Chicago, making things interesting again. Look at what the Brewers were able to turn in a 59-day stretch. Cubs can do the same thing. That lineup was crazy to start the year. You know how good they were. They got into a slump. They've slowed things down. You do not want to have the Cubs back in this race at all. Today is borderline must win.
I think it's a big game today. I'm not going to say it's must win because you're way out in front of this division. You're way out in front of everybody in baseball for win-loss record. So I'm not as worried about if they were to lose it because, again, you come home against the Giants, you come home against the D-backs. Both those teams are beatable teams. Both those teams are series in which you should win both of those series going forward to regain your momentum if you lose your momentum and can't get it back here today with a win this afternoon. Again, Imanaga versus Priester, the matchup. But I will say this. I think it does leave a bad taste in your mouth. And if you are to see these guys in the playoffs later, the Cubs are going to come in with their chest held out high like, I don't care what your record was. I don't care if you are the 1 seed at this point. We own you, and we're going to continue to own you. And I think if you're the Brewers, you go into that series, and you probably have a little bit of doubt in the back of your head, like, man, last time we saw these dudes, man, it was a problem. We got to get up and early in this series here, kind of reestablish that mojo. I really want them to at least win this game on the way out. So the last time they faced the Cubs is a win if they are to see them in the postseason. Folks, that's a possibility. They could see the Cubs in the postseason. This could be a playoff series, Brewers and Cubs. And how sweet would that be for both fan bases going back and forth to both stadiums to watch that one play out? Coming up next, Chris Merring, play-by-play voice of the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers. Don't forget, get the latest from Packers Seahawks joint practice coming up this afternoon with myself on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's here on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM. The Fan. Brewers game will be going on. We'll be talking about the game while it's going on, but we'll also be talking some Packers football, too, about what happens at the joint practice today between Green Bay and Seattle. It's the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers. Live from the 1250 AM 105.7 FM, The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook.
Fisher goes to third. The pitch is, there's a long drive deep into right field all the way back, and see you later. Jesus Mate just turned on it, and look out at 106. That, folks, is why he is the number 5 prospect in all of baseball.
How about it? The Timber Rattlers, Jesus Mata, his second home run with the Timber Rattlers already. Timber Rattlers beat Beloit 7-5. Y'all can go see them, right? Sky Carp right down the road. That's where we have the Mason Crosby celebrity softball tournament as well. We were all out there. Tommy Wirtz was showing his gold glove capabilities defensively in the outfield. His bat was on display as well. So a very cool stadium to go hang out at. But the Timber Rattlers, man, they are the team. If you're a Brewers fan, all eyes there on the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers. Chris Maring, the play-by-play voice of the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers, joins us now on the Fan Guest Hotline, powered by Gruber Law. Chris, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, good morning. Thank you for having me.
All right, so we'll talk about the Timber Rattlers, but I got to first start off with something. I mean, I've been doing radio for, since 1994, I guess. I was out 1 year, but otherwise since 1994. And I've missed days of work. How in the world do you do over 3,000 consecutive games, man? That is as impressive as anything I've ever heard of in my life as a play-by-play announcer.
I don't have a life outside of my job, so that helps a lot. So
you need to stop. But I mean, think about it. I mean, to be doing that for as long as you've been, I mean, did you ever have aspirations of, look, I want to go call games, for the Brewers, or I want to go call games somewhere else? But to be doing it that long is pretty impressive.
I think everybody has that ambition, but sometimes the job is just so good. Why bother leaving it and just try to be the best you can be, and they'll keep you around. So there's no real secret to it.
I want to talk about the Timber Rattlers team this year, but I want to ask you this: best player you've ever seen?
For the Timber Rattlers, I would say hitting Chris Snelling back in 2000 with the Mariners, and Felix Hernandez in 2003. As far as
King Felix.
Brewers, as far as the Brewers, that's up for debate right now because there's a lot of really good guys on that Brewers team right now, like Freddie Peralta. He was very young when he was with us in 2016. Bryce Terang was very young in 2019 with us. And, we've got so many guys that have come up. It's hard to pick one. But I can say probably the best player that I've ever seen, visitor or home, is probably Mike Trout in 2010 with Cedar Rapids when they were an Angels affiliate.
Wow, that's good stuff. Chris Maring, play-by-play voice of the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers, joins us here on the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon. Sparky filling in today. Tommy Wirtz producing Other Side of the Glass. Tommy Wirtz also does our leadoff show, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. And he talks minor leagues every single day on that show called Building a Winner, brought to you by Ironworker. So nobody's as tuned in to the minors as Tommy Wirtz, so he'll probably jump in with a question or two here too. Jesus Made, I saw Kylie McDaniel of ESPN yesterday drop his new top 100. Kylie McDaniel has Made as the number 3 prospect in all of baseball as of yesterday. We knew Made and Pena were tearing it up down at Carolina, but down there, Pena had the better numbers than Made did. And up here, Made clearly has been on a tear since he got here.
Yeah, he just had a 9-game hitting streak come to an end on Tuesday when he took an offer. And then yesterday he hit, 106-mile-an-hour home run, and he's just a doubles machine and hitting a lot of home runs. And just, wow, it's amazing. And it's tough. You listen to the Brewers talk about it internally, and they kind of go, well, we like Pena better than Made, but then something happens is like Made better than Pena. And it's just, you can't go wrong with either one of them right now because, but Made just last night, he got a change up last night. And, the first game of the series here, he took a 2-0 change up for a ball, but then the pitcher came back with 2 more and he swung and missed and struck out. Well, last night he's facing Holt Jones, a pitcher in the Marlins organization that throws 96, 97. And first couple of pitches were strikes on fastballs. And then he got a changeup, and that was the home run that he hit 106 miles an hour off to right field last night. And it was a beautiful swing. He timed it up perfectly, and the kid can hit, and wow, it was something else. So I would argue that number 3 is probably a little low, but the sky is the limit right now for Jesus Mate.
Talking with Chris Mehring of the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers, play-by-play voice. Chris, this is Tommy here jumping in too. They've been platooning right now, not necessarily platooning, but rotating Mate and Pena around the infield. Do you have a lean on which player, whether it is Pena, Mate, anyone else, fitting in who plays better at second base, plays better at shortstop, plays better at third base? Because when you get to the big leagues, like there's big money discrepancies between all of those different positions, Chris, and they're going to have to make a decision if they're going to keep them all coming up at the same time eventually on them.
Well, I mean, Mate has played mostly shortstop. I think we've had he's played 12, 13 games with us, and it's about 9 at shortstop now, where Pena has played the majority at second base. And plus, when you throw in that we have Andrew Fisher now, the Brewers' #1 pick, playing third base, you kind of have to, you can't put either one of them at third. So I saw Mate has made some amazing plays, but then last night he kind of made 2 errors on one play because he had a ground ball to him on a double play, and it looked like he tried to get to the bag before he had the ball, and he missed it. Then he picked it up and he threw late to first base for an error, and so it was 2 errors on one play. But I mean, that's just an outlier. That's not happened. You know, that's going to happen to everybody, even at the big league level. So. From what I've seen Mate play really well at short, and I've seen Pena at second the majority of the time. So I think that's a problem that will sort itself out as they go up the system. That's not something they're worried about right now.
Yeah, and you brought him up there, Andrew Fisher, Brewers' first-round pick this past year in the first-year MLB draft. He's off to an incredibly hot start, too. Where do you see him fitting in the future here as well? He kind of was brought up as third first base as well when he was drafted, at least, but he's been pretty solid over at third base, and his bat is on fire right now to start, Chris.
Yeah, he's playing third. He's probably going to play third for the last what are we at? We got like 16 games left in the season now, so he's going to play a lot of third, hit. The first night he was with us, he had 3 hits, 2 RBI, or 3 hits, 3 RBI. Stole 2 bases and played really good defense. I mean, he's playing like a first-round pick is supposed to play when he comes through this level. So I think he kind of fits in wherever. And then on top of that, the Brewers added Josh Adamczewski yesterday to our roster. So that's another top. He can hit. He's been our DH for 2 days in a row. I think he's just going to be wherever somebody might need a day off, he would fit in the field, but right now he's DHing. And I think all of these kids are just amazing. The Brewers are really helping us out down the stretch with throwing some of these prospects in, because not only are we selling a lot of tickets, I know Beloit was really happy that they would have all these prospects in, so all the Brewer fans down here can come and see them.
I think that obviously makes a lot of sense. And I remember, again, I'm older, right? So I remember leaving the radio station and driving to Beloit to go see the Prince Fielder, Ricky Weeks, Corey Hart, J.J. Hardy deal. And Prince Fielder's dad, Cecil, would be in attendance, sitting behind home plate, not at the pretty stadium they have now. They were at the old stadium, obviously. And he'd be sitting behind home plate. And this is a true story, honest to God. He'd sit back there, and people would bring their whole Little League baseball teams to these games. And they would line up, Chris, to get Cecil's autograph, until Cecil decided it was time for hot dogs. Then he'd put up his hand, go get his hot dogs, eat all of his hot dogs. And when he was done, he'd use his hand motion. Okay, I'll sign some more. And then he would continue to sign. That was one of the coolest things I remember, because you knew when that group was coming how special they very well could be, because that group was winning championships, if you remember, level by level as they were coming up. And then Braun obviously eventually caught up to him when they drafted him out of Miami. And this group here, I don't know if there's a fielder necessarily power-wise, but this group here that's coming feels special like that.
Yeah, I would agree. I would almost argue that Blake Burke, who was with us at the start of the year and has now kind of found his power stroke up in Biloxi at AA, that might be the guy that's kind of there to help them out at the power numbers. And we'll have to see. But this group of Brewers prospects, I mean, I remember when David Stearns took over as the general manager, his vision of the Brewers was wave after wave of young, good, controllable talent. And you see that happening. I mean, you saw it happen with Jackson Churio coming up to the big leagues, and Bryce Terang and Sal Frelick and Garrett Mitchell and Freddie Peralta and Corbin Burns, all those guys coming up. And now at this level here, you've got Mate, Pena, Fisher. You've had Burke. You've had guys up at AA and AAA that are ready at a moment's notice to come up and help, and it's just so fun to see.
Chris Merring, play-by-play voice of the Wisconsin Timberrattlers, joins us here on the Mason Crosby Show on the Fan. Sparky filling in for Mason and Thunder today, along with Tommy Wirtz, as usual, other side of the glass. We have not talked about one of my favorite players coming up, Marco Dingus, and what this dude's all about. I mean, Cuero, we know how good Cuero is, but he can't stay healthy. But he had got on a tear here in the last week or so up at AAA. Dingus looks to be the real deal with the bat. How is he defensively?
Still needs some work defensively. He has a great arm, and he has thrown out some pretty good base stealers, but we just played Great Lakes, and they have a player that stole now 80 bases on the season, and he went 14 for 14 with stolen bases against the Rattlers in that series. And there were some throws that weren't that they weren't on target, and you could tell he was kind of rushing to try to get anybody, because Great Lakes, I think, was if I remember the numbers right, they went 29 for 31 in a 6-game series for stolen bases against us. So there's some errors, there's some pass balls in the game, but I know the Brewers, you know, they work with all of their catchers to deal with this, and the bat plays. The bat definitely plays. The exit velocities are elite with Marco Dingus, and once the catching comes around, I think that's another great name for people to keep an eye on.
Yeah, that dude is. He's going to be really good too. I don't know if he stays a catcher, but I think he's going to be really good. Is there anybody on the pitching side? Because we've been talking about hitting nonstop. Anybody on the pitching side in the last year or two that you really like?
You know, we've had Brett Witrowski and Casey Hunt come through in the last year. They're up at AA now. They're pitching really well. We've got some guys at our level. Tanner Gillis, he was a non-drafted free agent, but he's an older pitcher that knows what he's doing and does some really good stuff. And I know the numbers aren't there right now for a guy like Yerlin Rodriguez, but he's got a triple-digit fastball, and once he figures out what he's doing and where it's going, I think he could really be good. And then our starter last night, Manuel Rodriguez, he's 18. He doesn't throw that hard yet, but he's got the projectable body, and he's got an amazing changeup for such a young pitcher. And he is able to just, he struck out 10 last night, or he struck out 8 in 5 innings last night and only gave up 1 hit. And another guy who just got called up to Biloxi is Jaron DeBerry. He was the 4th-round pick last year out of Dallas Baptist University. He's got another projectable frame, and once he gets into the program a little bit more and maybe starts putting on a little muscle, I think that's going to be a name to really watch out for.
So exciting, man. This Brewers farm system is so good. Chris Merrick, play-by-play voice of the Wisconsin Timberrattlers. Follow him on Twitter, of course, C. Merrick. Thank you so much for coming on, man. I appreciate it. And, of course, everybody go buy your Timberrattler tickets because you are running out of time. I guess I got one last one. Tommy and I were talking about this last night. Do you expect Made and Pena and these guys to start back at this level next year if you were guessing at this point?
I mean, it would be nice. I don't know what the Brewers' plans are for them right now. I mean, we had Sal Frelick at the end of the 2021 season, and they sent him up for the first month of 2022.
Yeah.
It was going to be about 2 months, and basically he destroyed the league in the first 3 weeks. So they sent him right up to Biloxi. That's been the plan with some of their prospects. I know we had Joey Weimer at the end of that 21 season as well. They sent him right up to Biloxi. He did not come back. So I think it's all about where the Brewers see players and what they do. But we do know that we open up at home on April 2nd, 2026. And ticket packages are available already. So if you want to take a chance and come on out next year, that would be fine. But if you do not want to miss them, we're home next Tuesday through Sunday. That's the 26th through the 21st. We've got Quad Cities coming in. That's a Royals affiliate with some really good prospects down there. It's going to be a great time. We've got all of the amazing we've got some great giveaways, and we have our Brattoberfest promotion on Fridays or Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So come on up to the ballpark, come on up to the Fox Cities and Neuroscience Group Field. It's going to be a good time for the last 6 home games of the season.
I mean, high A broadcaster, big league plug right there, Chris.
Sir.
Come on,
He's
come on, Chris.
He's already
Nice.
promoting ticket packages for next year. Chris, thank you so much for coming on, man. I appreciate you.
All right, Sparky, Tommy, thank you very much.
You bet you take care. There he is, Chris Merrigan, play-by-play voice of the Wisconsin Timberwhalers, joining us there on the fan guest hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. All right, coming up on the other side, Drew Wagner, Forbes Sports Brewers writer. He has been at Wrigley Field for the last several days. We'll go inside the clubhouse, brought to you by Focus Baseball. Coming up next, Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers, live from the 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky filling in.
A Super Bowl champion.
The Green Bay Packers have won the Super Bowl.
The Packers' all-time leading scorer.
A game winner for Mason Crosby.
It's time for the Mason Crosby Show with Mitch Nellis, presented by Verizon, the #1 network in Milwaukee, on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, and on the free Odyssey app.
Welcome in hour number 2 of the Mason Crosby Show, live from the 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Other side of the glass, Tommy Words, Mason Crosby, Mitch Thunder Nellis off today. Thunder will be back on Wednesday. He's on a vacation. Mason Crosby with just his human Wednesday on a Thursday, so he will be back tomorrow. During the Mason Crosby Show, I'll be co-hosting with Mason tomorrow, and then Monday and Tuesday as well. Our On the Green segment, brought to you by Alice Windows, Doors, and more, tomorrow at 9:45. Tomorrow, the featured golf course is the Wisconsin Country Club, and we will talk with them tomorrow at 9:45. Adam from over there will be joining us in studio tomorrow for that. So we get to learn about another brand new golf course during the On the Green segment tomorrow. Again, at 9:45. Not able to get a hold of Drew Wagner, which is not a big deal. We're switch gears. We're going to talk about the Green Bay Packers, people. The Green Bay Packers. Now, the Green Bay Packers in this NFL.com piece were not featured very much. The piece that was here, and I am not seeing what I'm looking for. 1 second here. I'm just doing something on the air and I can't seem to find it. Tommy, I don't see the Paramount read on here. Can you get me the Paramount read, please?
Yeah, I can do that.
Thank you. So the NFL.com website, they have a story written by Cynthia Freeland. Now, Cynthia Freeland is all over the NFL network. You see her. More stats, numbers oriented, and so forth. So she wrote this piece. She ran a bunch of simulations of a complete league year for the NFL this upcoming year. So she ran 272,000 simulations for each of the 272 regular season games. So that is 73,984,000 total simulations to get these results. She's also included some extra nuggets on players and so forth. Okay, fine. So this is how this works. Passing yard leader, based on these simulations that they came up the most, Joe Burrow, 4,584 yards is actually, no. Hold on a second. 4,854 yards. I read wrong. 4,854 yards. Second, Baker Mayfield at 4,651. Mahomes just over 4,600 yards. Jared Goff just short of 4,600 yards. And then Brock Purdy at 4,500 yards. You can mark me down right now, and I may be wrong. I don't think Brock Purdy is outpassing Jordan Love this year. I don't. Maybe I'm nuts. I don't think Brock Purdy is going to outthrow Jordan Love. Jordan Love is not even in this top 5. Now, I agree with you that, yes, they're going to run the football, Sparky. I get it. I understand that they're going to run the football. But Kyle Shanahan is still the damn coach in San Francisco with the 49ers. They're also still going to run the football. They've had to restart over with their wide receiving core on top of everything else. Yes, they have Kittle. He's old. So while they have him, he's still an older player at that tight end position. I just find it hard to believe that Purdy is going to have bigger numbers. Would I believe Jared Goff to have bigger numbers than Love? Yes. Do I believe Mahomes? Yes. Mayfield? Sure. I'm on board with, obviously, Joe Burrow having more numbers too. But I really am surprised that Brock Purdy's number is that high. Now, what I want to know from you is, as we go through these numbers, right, what Packers do you think should be in these conversations for stat leaders in 2025? Offensively or defensively, right? Whether it's passing yards, rushing yards, passing touchdowns, rushing touchdowns, sacks, interceptions, whatever the case may be, should there be anybody in the top 5 in any of these categories? There are a couple, 2 players that made top 5 categories in this list. 2. That's all. Only 2. Rushing yards. Now, here again, if you're going to argue with me that Jordan Love isn't going to have a lot of throwing yards because they're going to run the football so much, then some would think Josh Jacobs would be in the top 5 for rushing leaders. Wouldn't that make sense? I think it would make sense. Nope. Saquon Barkley, 1548. Derrick Henry, 1500. Bijan Robinson, 1488. Jonathan Taylor, 1413. Jahmyr Gibbs, 1387. First of all, I highly doubt Jonathan Taylor's going to run for 1413. Why? Because he can't stay healthy. He can't stay healthy. I'm not getting on board with Jonathan Taylor running for 1,400 yards. Man can't stay healthy. If he has a history of actually staying on the field, that'd be one thing. His history is of watching on the bench. So, no, I'm not in line with Jonathan Taylor, 1,400 yards.
He was kind of healthy last year.
Secondly, Daniel Jones is the starting quarterback. So why wouldn't you just run everybody up into the box and see if Daniel Jones can beat you at this point? Because Jonathan Taylor is clearly the lone threat on that Colts offense if you don't have a quarterback to get it to the first-round pick Warren at tight end, to get the ball to Michael Pittman or some of these guys. Well, how many interceptions Jones going to throw this year? 15 to 20?
Oh, man.
If he starts all year and doesn't get pulled at some point?
He's gonna be atrocious, in my opinion. I would look, I know I told you last year when we were doing the Green Bay football post-game show last year, most of the season, that, man, I didn't realize just how bad Anthony Richardson was. I know that you have Colts affiliation a little bit too.
I do. I'm a Colts fan too. Yep.
And, but I still would just rather rock out there with Anthony Richardson than Daniel Jones. I think Daniel Jones, you know what you have, and Anthony Richardson, while the lows are very low, like that throw last year has me enough to say you should have a job in the NFL for the rest of your life, because I think he's got some exciting playability that Daniel Jones does not bring to a team.
Anthony Richardson was a horrible draft pick when they made it. And I've not changed my thought on Anthony Richardson being a horrible draft
still
pick.
one of the youngest quarterbacks in the NFL?
He's younger than a bunch of quarterbacks in the NFL. And I heard Andy Herman today on the Pack-A-Day radio show before this show
was crazy.
Say that he thinks that maybe there's a possibility that after this year Malik Willis becomes a free agent, that who knows, maybe the Packers trade a draft pick and they bring in Anthony Richardson to be the backup to Jordan Love going forward.
No, I don't. Maybe that's the real test of a quarterback, right? I don't know if I want him to be the quarterback of my team, but as an outside fan looking in.
Who's the better athlete?
Anthony Richardson's one of the best athletes in the league.
Who's got the better arm?
Anthony Richardson.
So, again, it's not like you're bringing in some guy that's got a noodle for an arm and can't move to come in behind Jordan Love. This would be the same type of philosophy of bringing a guy that is more of an athlete than Jordan Love is, that brings a different element to the offense when he's on the field going forward. But again, the issue, like Jonathan Taylor, is Anthony Richardson can't stay healthy either.
He also holds the ball.
Florida and
bad
everywhere
decisions.
Else.
Yes, all over.
But that can be coached up, right? Holding the ball bad. LaFleur can coach that up. They can coach that up in Green Bay if he were to end up in Green Bay at some point as a backup quarterback. If he gets put into a situation with good coaching, and if he's willing to work to go with what they want him to do, he's talent through the roof. He's probably one of the most talented quarterbacks in the National Football League when you put everything together. The problem is he doesn't have a lot of experience, right? Because, again, didn't play much in college.
He, however, has had probably a better track record with the Colts than Malik Willis had with the Titans.
Yes.
I mean, Malik Willis with the Titans looked like he didn't belong in the NFL, quite frankly. So
and he was coming out of Liberty. Richardson was coming out of Florida.
Right.
And he was unbelievable at Liberty for Hugh Freeze as the coach over there.
Yeah, Malik Willis was very talented in college, and he was a third-round pick, I believe, right? Yeah, so, I mean, not necessarily the first-round buzz, but the opportunity to maybe develop and be a part of the future plans for sure. Once Will Levis came in, then it was done, and then Cam Ward on top of it was really going to be a nail in the coffin anyway, right? But Anthony Richardson, I don't imagine he's going to be a candidate for Green Bay. I don't think the Colts are going to want to trade him.
How much better does he get under a LaFleur and that coaching staff?
I guess better. Like, are you really that down on the Colts coaching staff right now?
They're getting fired.
I mean,
the
this
GM's
year?
Yes. The GM's getting
Chris
fired.
Ballard has been getting fired for 10 years now.
Doesn't matter. The old guy's dead. So now the daughters are in charge. So Irsay gone. Irsay's daughter's in charge. They're not going to have as long of a leash, I don't think. We'll see. But I think Ballard's gone after this year, and I think Steichen and that coaching staff has gone after this year, and then they start over with their people that they trust, they want to bring in and run. There's 3 of them, by the way, trying to run this thing.
I ran in and I ran out here. How far did you get down on this list here when you were reading to people?
I only got to rushing yards through the top 5 there.
That's, I mean, you should mention old friend on this list. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, scroll down.
I do.
Okay.
I know what you're talking about.
Because
it's lunacy. Another guy that can't stay healthy, and she has him as a stat leader in a category. He can't even stay healthy in training camp.
That's way crazier than anything else on this list.
Hey, we'll get to it. Yes. Football Talk on the Fan, presented by Paramount Plus. You can't count on much these days, but you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. Watch your local NFL game live every Sunday on CBS and Paramount Plus all season long. Visit ParamountPlus.com/NFL to get started today. So back to this list on NFL.com. So leaders in passing yards, leaders in rushing yards, not the leaders in rushing touchdowns. And again, I say Josh Jacobs has to be on this list for the Packers, doesn't he? He is, but he's 5th. Jahmyr Gibbs at 13. Jonathan Taylor at 12. Come on. Derrick Henry at 12. Bijan of the Falcons at 11. And there's Josh Jacobs at 10. If you had to give me an over-under at the Potawatomi Sportsbook on Josh Jacobs' touchdowns, I would go over 10, Tommy. I would go over 10. There's not a threat of anybody else really down there at that point. And I feel like LaFleur is comfortable running the football at the goal line, unlike when we have Aaron Rodgers and we're 5 wide out of the gun at the half-inch line.
I understand that, but I don't know. I feel like if you're expecting a lot out of Jordan Love this season, and maybe do you just think that his number is going to be higher than Brock Purdy's number, or do you think that the number listed on this
Purdy's number is stupid?
Okay. All right.
You're rebuilding a whole wide receiver staff. Like, that whole thing is going to have to be changed. Now, if McCaffrey is healthy, they're going to run the football with Christian McCaffrey.
He's a top 5 player in the league if he's healthy.
If he's healthy,
yes.
Which also is going to take away from there. Shanahan is a run-first, play-action type of caller. So to think Purdy's going to do this, he doesn't have Randy Moss running out there that he's going to throw the ball up to, right? And again, Purdy's another guy that I know a lot of people like to defend, but I'm sorry. The dude is a kind of a West Coast system type quarterback. That's kind of who he is, right? Doesn't have the biggest arm in the world or anything like that, but will win games and get the job done. Brady, he didn't have the biggest arm in the world either, but he got the job done. Joe Montana didn't have the biggest arm in the world. He got the job done. So, like, we're talking about athletic talent and so forth. Brock Purdy's not on the Anthony Richardson list at this point, right? But he's good enough to win games. Is he good enough to spread them out and throw 40 times a game and win games? I don't think I believe that to be true.
Josh Jacobs also not a threat in the pass game when it comes to his touchdowns, really, too.
This is correct, but this is rushing touchdowns.
Right, yeah. So when you're saying is he going to get 10 touchdowns, he might get 1, maybe 2 if he has a fantastic year through the air. And you would expect him to have 12 touchdowns this season, I would think, correct?
Yes.
Total
touchdowns.
That's
what I say. I would be over. And again, I think he gets more than 10 rushing touchdowns. We'll see. I said on Wisconsin Sports Daily, I think he ends up with 50 or 60 carries less than maybe last year. But I think that translates to a little time on the sidelines. But I think they're going to try to get him more heavily involved in the passing game.
Marshawn Lloyd can't stay healthy, and the other 2 guys,
Wilson and Brooks.
Yeah, the other 2, Wilson and Brooks, I think had a fine role last season for Green Bay.
Brian Robinson is out there. He's on the last year of his deal. He's making $3 million.
I don't think it's that. The room is crowded already. I don't think that they need to upgrade anyone as far as Josh Jacobs wants to be a workhorse. He's the most vocal leader already on this team too, and he produced amazing last season for the Green Bay Packers. I don't think they need to go out and make a move to bring in any more running backs because Emmanuel Wilson's my guy. I love what he does. Chris Brooks is the best pass blocking out of all of them. And Marshawn Lloyd, they're always excited about, but the guy never sees the field. So, no, I don't think they need to bring in any more talent in the running back room for Josh Jacobs. And I don't think his carries are going to diminish because if anything, he might demand more after his season last year.
You might. The Mason Crosby Show presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers. You can, of course, stream us on your Odyssey app. You can also watch us on YouTube there. Stream The Fan Milwaukee, and you can watch us live streaming all of our local shows. Check out videos. Check out all of our shorts. Again, search The Fan Milwaukee on YouTube. This NFL list will continue on. Top 5 in receptions. No Green Bay Packers are going to be on that list. Receiving yards. No Green Bay Packers are going to be on that list. The bottom one is Brian Thomas Jr. at 1402 at number 5 for the Jaguars.
Stud.
Okay, so Christian Watson's going to miss probably 5 or 6 games, right? So he's probably not going to be in that conversation. I think the only guy you can come up with that could be in that conversation, if he is a focal point of this offense, would be the rookie Matthew Golden in his first year in the league. Do they put the weight of the world on Matthew Golden and tell him, you're going to be our guy, let's go? I don't know. To this point, they haven't put the weight of the world on anybody to be the guy. It gets changed every week as far as who the main target's going to be, Tommy.
Yeah, it would average out to, with a 17-game season, if you play every year, you need to average 58 yards a game to get to 1,000, which does not sound as impressive in a 17-game season compared to what it would have been in a 16-game season. Sure. I think Matthew Golden is the only candidate that's going to be at 1,000 yards for Green Bay this year, or could be at 1,000 yards for Green Bay this year. Jaden Reed has had maybe some of the most quiet training camp after last season. Dontavian Wicks has been unhealthy as well. I don't think he's going to be in the conversation to get to 1,000 yards. I think Green Bay loves their wide receiver by committee approach as well. But if anyone's going to do it, Matthew Golden getting 58 yards a week, that sounds very doable, in my opinion.
I think it is very doable. Yeah, I would agree with you on that. So maybe we do see Matthew Golden there. If we fast forward through some of these receiving touchdowns, the bottom one, T. Higgins at 9 for the Bengals. The only one that I would say has a chance to get 9 and get it to the top 5 spot would be Tucker Kraft.
Ooh, that's what I was going to say. I like that. I think he could be a really good red zone piece this year for Green Bay. And I don't know what they're going to do. It sounds like they're going to run a lot more 12 personnel. Maybe Luke Musgrave turns into something like that too, but it seems like the tight ends are going to be heavily relied upon for Green Bay, at least in the early stages of 2025.
Sacks. Aiden Hutchinson, 15. TJ Watt, 13. Garrett, 12. Bosa, 11. Max Crosby, 10.
No Micah Parsons.
And no Trey Hendrickson, because there's not a practical way to account for their impact as long as their contract situations keep them in limbo, meaning because she didn't know if they were going to be on the field in week 1, she didn't put them into the simulations. So Hutchinson, 15. So the question is, can anybody catch Max Crosby and 10?
No.
Okay,
no.
Moving on. Interceptions. This is the last one.
This one's crazy. This is insane.
The leader, after like a million of these things that she did, simulations, Jair Alexander leads the league in picks, according to Cynthia Freeland of NFL.com, with 5. Second is Xavier McKinney at 4 on this list.
I will say this.
If
Trey Hendrickson
leads the league in interceptions, people are going to go nuts.
Trey Hendrickson will hold out his contract situation this year, probably, right? He will play more games than Jair Alexander. There's no way that the simulation, they can't account for injuries probably in these,
not, no.
But 0% chance Jair Alexander leads the NFL in interceptions this year. I am very confident saying that as well.
Crazy. All right, coming up next, Drew Wagner, Forbes Sports, will go inside the clubhouse, brought to you by Focus Baseball. That's coming up next. Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers, live from the 1250 AM at 105.7 FM, the Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Time for your fan weather forecast. 73 degrees, mostly cloudy skies right now. High of 75. They're saying for today. No rain in the forecast. A low of, are you ready for this? 59.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Dude, next weekend, I think the lows might hit the 40s.
40's a little too low, but I am like summer. Let's get to football season. I need some sweater weather.
I like sweatshirt weather myself too. Yeah, I'm with you. Back after this with Andrew Wagner.
Pulls it. Oh, and it gets by Shaw. Fair ball down into the corner. Terang is in. And Danny Jansen makes this a one-run game. Big hit for Jansen.
Probably his biggest hit as a Brewer. Highlight courtesy of FanDuel Network Sports Wisconsin. Sports Network Wisconsin. Whatever. Brian Anderson there on the call. Steve Sparky Fifer with you. Filling in for Mason Crosby and Mitch Thunder Nellis today. Tommy Wirtz producing today's show as well. Don't forget, get the latest from the Packers Seahawks joint practice coming up this afternoon at 2. Charlie Usen and myself will get you the latest going on from there. Brewers game is going on this afternoon. I understand. We have the leadoff show powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook coming up from noon until 1 today. And then we'll be on during the game. So we will be talking about the game while it's going on. But we're also going to be talking about that Packers Seahawks scrimmage too. So make sure to check out Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. That comes up this afternoon again, starting at 2 here on The Fan.
What's the latest on the crew? Let's go inside the clubhouse with Drew Wagner of Forbes Sports on the Mason Crosby Show with Mitch Thunder Nellis. Brought to you by Verizon, the #1 network in Milwaukee on 1250 AM and 105.7 FM, The Fan. Inside the Clubhouse is brought to you by Focus Baseball. Join their fall mini camps at focusbaseball.com.
All right, joining us now, he is Andrew Wagner. Follow him on Twitter at @ByAndrewWagner. First things first, everybody kept talking about Danny Jansen having his big Brewers moment. The Appleton native getting to the Brewers here just a few weeks ago. I would say that was probably been his biggest Brewer moment to this point.
Yeah, sure seems that way. He hasn't had a lot of opportunities, but that was a big one, and he delivered.
He hasn't really impressed me all that much, to be honest with you, up until that moment and time. Every time he comes up, I was like, okay, maybe he's going to do something. And then catching, okay, do something. I don't know. I mean, that's why he's the backup catcher, I guess, and not the starter. William Contreras ends that game with a line drive that Nico Horner snatches. Brewers have lost 3 in a row after last night. And we talked about it yesterday, and I think it applies to last night's game as well, which is they simply can't figure out how to get the big hit into big moments like they were on that winning streak, Drew.
Yeah, they're a little bit of a slump right now, a 48-hour slump. The funny thing is, I was staying on Twitter last night as I was coming back. Everyone complained that the offense has gone dead this series. Well, it's not this series. They opened the series with a 7-0 win. They're outscoring the Cubs 15-14 so far. So it's not like the offense has gone dead. It's like you said, they just haven't gotten those big hits. They were a hit away from winning game 1 of that series. They're 6-4. They lose the first game of the doubleheader. They were a hit away from getting back in it yesterday. They had a couple chances there against Colin Ray, loading up the bases. I think it was in the 3rd inning, and then putting runners in scoring position. They couldn't get that big hit. That's going to happen sometimes. It hasn't happened lately. You knew it was going to cool off a little bit, but I don't think that this is all of a sudden the Brewers are in a giant swoon.
Mr. Wagner, I agree with you that I don't think they're in a giant swoon, but one thing that was brought up by Tommy Wirtz earlier in the show and on text last night when we were going back and forth, why was the decision made to flop Canning and Uribe and have Uribe pitch the 7th and Canning pitch the 8th? Because it's been happening now the last several games.
Yeah, not sure. That did not actually come up. We didn't think about it until we got back up to the press box last night. He has done that a couple of times. So that's definitely a good one to ask. We'll have to ask Murph that one.
That is, I told Tom, I'm like, I think he's doing it based on where they are in the lineup. Like, if he feels like this is the tougher part of the lineup, then maybe he's going Uribe there.
That would be my guess. That would be my guess.
Because that would make a lot of sense. Mizorowski didn't pitch all that great last night, had the walks. I said it earlier, his curveball, he couldn't place it, and they kept asking him to throw that thing at the end of pitch counts, so that kept leading him into more trouble. And I just said, man, I don't know. If I'm William Contreras or if I'm Chris Hook, and I'm seeing early on that he's having problems spotting that curveball, at some point after, I don't know, the second walk, let's say, I go out there and go, dude, we're done. We're not throwing this anymore. We're not going to worry about that pitch. We're going to focus on using some of your other stuff that you're having a better time of spotting. I think that really was the major problem he was having, was when they were calling that pitch and the fact he couldn't throw it for strikes.
Yeah, his curveball was not there yesterday. If he came undone, that long at bat, not Michael Bush, Matt Shaw, I think it was a 12-pitch at bat. That was the one that kind of broke him. That took a lot out of him, and I think that rattled him a little bit because he did not throw. I think his next 3 pitches were balls. It just was not a good at bat. Didn't get the finish that he wanted, and I think that kind of burned him. And then you come up and get the big hit, the double. That one stung. He wasn't all that awful except for that inning where he just got out of his own head for a little bit, and it wasn't there.
After the game, Murphy was talking about how it's not acceptable. I don't know if he lost his focus or whatever, but it's not going to cut it. And last time I heard him talking about somebody like this, it was Tobias Myers, and Myers still is living in that doghouse to this day. I'm a little bit concerned that Mizorowski ends up there if he isn't careful here. And Murphy can just say, well, he's young. We tried. It didn't work. And we're moving on. Like, that is something I'm concerned about. Now, Tommy Wirtz brought me back down to earth and said, look, even if he is building himself a doghouse currently, worst case is he probably ends up coming out of the bullpen for the Brewers versus starting in the playoffs.
That's probably true. I don't think he's in the doghouse. I think that they still have all the faith in the world in him. I think Murph has all the faith in the world in him. It was just a bad outing, and I think Murph was right to kind of put it out there.
Well, that's 2 bad outings in a row now, Drew.
Yeah, it is 2 bad outings in a row. He's looking like he's human right now. It's not going to cut it. Murph's right. They need more of him, and I think that was a message saying, hey, we know you're better than this. We're counting on you to get to where we're going to go. You got to pull it together.
Yeah, and I get that too. And the other part about it is, you look at how this lines up. If Mizorowski isn't that guy in this playoff rotation, if it's, however you want to line it up, but if it's Peralta and if it's Woodruff, who's that third guy? Tim Dillard a couple of weeks ago when I brought it up to him said, if it's him, Miz is out of the bullpen and Priester is that third guy. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, probably. That's the way it would shape up, I think. That's a smart way to do it.
Yeah, I'm fearful that Murphy's going to go with Quintana, and Quintana has been fine. But for whatever the reason, I just can't get comfortable when he's on the mound. Like the 5 guys, when they go out there, I think Quintana is the one guy where, well, we'll see how he is today. And I don't think I have a good justification of why I feel that way, but that's kind of how I feel. When Peralta goes out there, I was like, all right, we should win. Woodruff goes out there. Okay, we should win. Up until these last 2 starts, when Miz went out there, okay, we should win. And even Priester, who I'm not necessarily fully on board with like most people, I still feel like he gives us a good chance. Now, in the pitching matchup today, Priester versus Imanaga, I don't know what you think of this. I think it's advantage Cubs. I think Imanaga is probably the better pitcher at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with you there, but the Brewers had some good success against him. I think both times they faced him, they hit him pretty good. Priester's been playing great. He had that hiccup game 2 starts ago, but other than that, he's been pretty lights out the last 2 months. I think he got his regression game out of the system. I think he's going to be fine. I don't see any reason to be concerned. I mean, you give a slight edge to Imanaga just because he's got the track record, but I don't think Priester's that much of a slouch in comparison.
Another game goes by, another game where Perkins and Collins both still don't look themselves. And this all goes back to them missing that couple of days. I'm telling you right now, this Brewers team is not going to go as far as they want to go, I don't think, if Isaac Collins can't get back to being that guy like he was previous to missing those 2 days for his kid being born.
Yeah, I think he'll get back to it. Listen, you have a kid, you probably don't get a lot of sleep. You come back, you got the goofy schedule those first 2 days. Like I'm fully confident Isaac Collins is going to get back to himself. He's a really good ball player. I mean, it was a kind of a shake-up weekend for him. I have no kids that I know about, but I have friends that have tiny tax deductions, and they're always tired and complaining all the time.
Yes.
So I'm guessing it's a stressful thing, and probably even more so when you're not there. As for Perkins, I don't know what it was he had to deal with, but if it's bereavement, it's nothing good. So that probably wears on you a little bit and takes you a little time to get readjusted. So I have no concern that those two guys will get back to form.
Inside the Clubhouse, brought to you by Focus Baseball. Sign up for their fall mini camps today at focusbaseball.com. Drew Wagner, Forbes Sports Brewers writer, joins us here on the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon. See Sparky Fifer filling in today. The other thing that I don't understand yesterday, well, two things. One, I still don't know why Siegler plays at all on this team. He shouldn't be on the Major League roster. But number two is Terang batting all the way down at 7. With as good as he's been playing, I don't understand why he continues to sit down there.
I'm not sure either. I mean, they have their ways of building their lineup. They had a lot of success putting Frelick in the leadoff spot and moving Terang down. It worked for quite some time and hasn't worked as great lately. But too much is made about the lineup. And I've said that forever. There's a reason they put him down there. That 5 spot, they look at it as a second leadoff guy. They've got the numbers where it's the guy that comes up most often in future innings. So I think that's probably the reason they leave him there. But again, I think too much is made out of that.
I believe that if the best players get the most at-bats, you have the best chance of winning. And in order to get the most at-bats, you have to be higher in the lineup. That's just, it seems like common sense to me. So you could talk about, well, this guy batting 2 versus this guy batting 3 doesn't make that much of a difference. Okay, we can have that conversation, fine. But the difference between batting in the top 3 or top 4 versus batting 7, 8, or 9, I would assume by the end of the year, the number of at-bats that you lose probably, and again, I'm just guessing here, probably somewhere around 60 to 75 at-bats, at least probably, as far as what you'll lose.
Yeah, that could be. I mean, again, there's so much that goes into lineup construction that it kind of makes the mind melt and smoke come out of your ears if you sit down and you go through all of it.
See, that's
there are
funny.
pros and cons
but Drew, that's funny because you literally just said, I think there's too much made out of it. I've heard managers go, you guys talk about it too much. And then you just said, and I believe you, which is, it'll make your mind melt if you realize what went into building a lineup, which means they actually do care. And there is kind of a science to what they're trying to do, that it matters way more than they let on and more than like what we think.
It's not stuff that like you automatically think. They're thinking about relievers coming in later in the game. They're thinking about who's leading off innings later in the game. They're thinking about, setting the stage and flipping the lineup. They're thinking about splitting lefties. Like there's all kinds of goofy stuff that goes into it that doesn't make a whole lot of sense on the surface. But when you put it all together, it's like, oh, okay, why are we snapping over this?
He is Andrew Wagner, again, of Forbes Sports Brewers writers. Been on regularly last several days. He'll join Tommy coming up during the leadoff show, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook, coming up at noon today here on The Fan. Mr. Wagner, thank you so much.
Talk to you later.
Take care. There he is, Drew Wagner, Forbes Sports. Follow him on Twitter at @ByAndrewWagner. He joined us, of course, on the Fan Guest Hotline, powered by Gruber Law. One call. That's all. All right, coming up on the other side, it says on my rundown that Tommy Wirtz wrote for me, it says extra points. Extra points is what is coming up next. That means I got to come up with something clever and different than what we've talked about to this point to discuss coming up in the next segment.
I did not say you have to be clever. We don't strive for clever on this show.
You don't?
Oh, I do, but I don't expect it on anyone else. So no, I don't need you to be clever.
That's fair. I'm not clever, so I don't expect clever out of me.
Also, I will say here, just in defense of Drew Wagner on that last comment, like Bryce Trang doesn't get to lead off the inning against Palencia if he's not batting 7th.
Sure, that's one moment. But I'm telling you, if he's one of your best hitters, which he is at this point, I'll give you a prime example. If Collins can't hit, then he should go to 7 and Terang should go up.
Isn't it weird how baseball just always finds a way to work itself out? Like
no,
this is now.
It's not funny.
Actually,
who comes up with guys on base consistently? Joey freaking Ortiz.
I've told you that.
It's been going on all year.
I've told you that. I don't. If they should have someone else batting in the 9 spot because of how often Joey Ortiz comes up with the bases loaded, but then Joey Ortiz has to be one of those guys to get on base also, which could kill the rally as well. I do think that the fifth guy being the second leadoff spot is the most BS we've heard all year. You want to know why it's BS now? Because you know who's batting 5th every day? Andrew Vaughn. completely the opposite of what they were doing. He is the slowest player on the team. Yes. It is not a Terang. It's not a Frelick. No. It's not a Collins. Like, that was total BS that we heard this year that meant absolutely nothing. I am all in on that boat because Andrew Vaughn is not a leadoff hitter. He is not. He's a power bat.
Terang would make more sense in that role. That's what you thought.
Well, right. If they're going to say that it's a second leadoff hitter situation, like, yeah,
contact
then play into it.
Speed,
get
all
on
that.
base,
Yes.
Play some Brewers baseball. Andrew Vaughn is a power bat. Yeah, it should be a run-producing position in the lineup. I think that he should be batting fifth. I'm just saying the Brewers had a whole spin on a story when really they didn't have a guy who was a five hitter on this team. That's more or less what I was getting at. And what I was saying with the lineup working itself out, Rhys Hoskins homered again in his Nashville assignment. And the way this thing works out is if Vaughn and Hoskins can be the DH first base situation, Yelich can play the field, and that kind of kicks out Isaac Collins if he doesn't figure it out too.
So then it's Yelich, Churio, and Frelick.
Correct.
And Churio starts his rehab assignment tomorrow, correct?
Correct. I'm just saying these things work themselves out a lot of the time. And if that's not the case and Isaac Collins does figure it out, then Rhys Hoskins is the best bench bat in the playoffs. And Isaac Collins might be the best bench bat in the playoffs if he's on the bench.
I might be wrong about this. There's no way he's sitting on the bench. Telling you right now, there's no
I tend to agree with you.
I think they platoon him. One plays against lefties, one plays against righties.
Andrew Vaughn hasn't come out of the lineup at all already.
There's nobody else.
I know
you love Jake Bowers, but he's not there either. He's on rehab too.
2 games as well.
He's on rehab too, so he wasn't available either. They had no option at first base. Monasterio's going to play first base with Andrew Vaughn.
They love your boy Anthony Siegler enough to maybe try him around somewhere else.
Listen, there is no reason for him to be on this roster.
You want the fans to complain about the lineup? You tell me you want them to complain about the lineup more? Take Andrew Vaughn out of it and see what happens with this fan base. They will. He's been the best player on the team for over a month right now. Best hitter, at least.
All right. What do you want to put on it? I'm a Wendy's guy, so we'll go Wendy's.
Okay.
Right? We'll go a Wendy's value meal. And if they end up platooning Hoskins and Vaughn, you owe me a value meal. If they don't, and Vaughn is playing every day, regardless of what Hoskins is doing, I owe you a value meal.
Okay. Are we going to do this for the end of the season, or should we just make it like first playoff game? What's the roster?
No,
okay.
September.
All right. I got you.
First September. Yeah. When the regular season ends, the winner pays off before the first playoff game.
Yeah. Take Andrew Vaughn out of the lineup and see what happens. This whole city is going to be an uproar. George Webb is going to be like, no more promotions ever again after this.
I don't think so. I don't think it matters. But I do want to talk about that promotion. Coming up next, the Mason Crosby Show is presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers, live from 1250 AM 105.7 FM, the Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky filling in for the guys. Welcome back. It is the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon. Sparky filling in for Mason Crosby and Mitch Thunder Nellis. Mason back tomorrow. Don't forget our On the Green segment on Fridays, 9:45. Tomorrow, the featured golf course, the Wisconsin Country Club. And, of course, On the Green brought to you by Alice Windows, Doors, and more. Looking forward to learning more about that golf course coming up tomorrow with Mason Crosby. So it is time for this right here.
I want to know what you're thinking.
What's on Mason Crosby's mind today? It's time for Extra Points, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook on the Mason Crosby Show with Mitch Nellis on 1250 AM.
Tell me what's on your mind.
And 1057 FM, The Fan.
Okay, so I don't want to call out somebody, but I got to call out somebody. I've got to call out somebody. So yesterday, not everybody, but people were going to the George Webb's in the area, and they were getting their free burger. The one over here on Highway 100.
Packed.
There was a long line of people. I'm waiting to do the show at 2 o'clock. It was like, I don't know, 1:45 or whatever. And there was a line wrapped around the freaking strip mall area where it was for people waiting to go in. And I took a picture and I sent it home. And Kay said that my 9-year-old was like, yeah, no, I'm not waiting in line for a hamburger. Like, no chance I'm waiting in line for a hamburger, right? And I agree. Like, I'm not waiting in line for a hamburger either. A lot of you did, and that's fine. Cool. Go get your free hamburger. Free is me, right? That's a common thing. Or
was that a proud father moment that from you right there where he was like, no shot, I'm waiting in line for
he
this.
has no patience like me. He has no patience for anything in life like me, right? He just has none. So our guy, Corey, on Twitter, tweeted at me, and he said, at Sparky Radio, I made the rounds. Do you see this right here? How many different George Webbs did this dude go to? 1, 2, 3, like 6 George Webb burger wrappers are right here. This dude went to 6 different George Webbs, man.
That's dedication.
Dude,
man.
that's crazy.
I don't know who has that much time for 4 hours.
6 different George Webbs? I don't care where you live. Are there 6 close enough to get aren't you going to different cities at this point?
Yeah, there's no way that you can get around. I don't know.
But it was on for 4 hours, so you could definitely get to 6 over 4 hours.
Do you see how packed it was at 2? Can you imagine the post-work rush they got too?
From 5 to 6
yeah,
or 4
right.
to 6?
Shout out those cooks. Also,
yes.
I'm sure that was probably just the
staff.
worst day ever. So, you guys, shout out to the cooks.
Hopefully y'all tip these people well too, right?
Yeah, of course.
How many people do you think went and got their burger and didn't stay and left?
Probably too many.
See, and that sucks, right?
Yeah.
Because what you're hoping happening if you're them is they stay and they have something else to eat with it, or they get a shake or some soup or something else that goes along with it. But yeah, I had to talk about that in Extra Points today because I saw that tweet. I was like, holy crap, dude. You drove around 5 or 6 different places to get free burgers.
I might offer Thunder bought but picked up a voucher, and they have no more vouchers when I was going to go buy. Yeah. I might offer to buy it for $5 so I can frame it from Mitch. Is that the price of a hamburger at George Webb's?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, because I think that'd look cool, up here or something in the background.
Mitch is not going to take $5 from you for this, right?
I'm offering to buy for $5. I'll buy the hamburger for you. That's a free hamburger. He gets a free hamburger out of it. He would have got a free hamburger out of it.
Yeah, no.
I'm more than fair on this deal.
If you missed any part of today's show, you can listen anytime on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast at. Just search the Mason Crosby Show on your favorite app. Hit the follow button, and you can catch up on every episode, every hour, every highlight, whatever works for you. That'll do it for the Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers, live from the Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Have a good one, y'all. Toodles.